Hey builders, this is Justin from Buildaible. As you can see, I am not in my normal office that you all have seen in the previous office hours, and sweating like crazy here in this Virginia heat. So today I'm actually down at the annual Virginia Builders Conference. So this is the Home Builders Conference here in for Virginia. We are down here, kind of not even really promoting Buildable or anything like that, but just seeing how home builders are utilizing technology, seeing what ways that Buildable can come in and actually support them. I got a lot of insights today. We had a board meeting, the annual board meeting for the Home Builders Association. There was a few panel sessions where they had some of the larger executives at the larger organizations, larger home builders in the state of Virginia, talking about various different things. And to be quite honest with you, one thing that I learned here as a technologist, that's the correct word, someone in technology, was that the construction industry is slower to adapt to technology than other industries. They talked a little bit today about utilizing AI and mainly customer communication and how, for instance, one of the big home builders talked about bringing their clients into utilizing apps and AI to almost promote the process as their home is being developed. People are excited about developing their home and their home being built, and want to put that out there to their friends and family. And that's one way that one of these builders using it to more connect with their customers. One thing that I actually learned from today, and I know this is kind of a little bit different of an office hours, but just an insight was, a trend that's happening in the home building industry is actually doing more prefabrication. What does that mean? That means building materials and components for homes in factories and then shipping it to the location and utilizing it, on that location, rather than building it out in the elements, and having a team on site to develop trusses or walls or whatever. But one of the biggest challenges that home builders actually discuss, and this kind of relates back to Buildable, is a lot of times they'll have some of these things that's off in a factory and then it's shipped out to the job site and it doesn't fit correctly. Things, they have to still modify it once it gets on site. And one of the big buzzwords that these home builders were talking about was, incorporate AI to solve that. There's a lot of waste in the construction industry, and if they can incorporate AI into some of the prefabrication process, there's a lot less waste, a lot less time wasted, a lot less material waste, and it's very interesting. So that's what we like to do here at Buildable. We like to hear directly from our, as I said, builders, customers, and their feedback, and see what ways we can drive this product to develop it so that it can support the unique needs that different businesses have, and bring technology to some of these industries that are slow to adapt to technology. So that's our goal behind it. Now today's office hour is going to be a quick one. Really just I'm not going to do many demos today. I'm just going to talk over kind of some of the things we're working on at Buildable, and next week we'll have another office hours where we'll be doing some more demos and everything like that. But it's just interesting. We're trying to get in front of customers, in front of builders. Sorry, I got to get that customer lingo out, and just understand how we can help. I mean, the whole point behind Buildable is we're not, we're to help you, that supports you, that allows you to put more time back into your day to focus on your actual business, your job, and less about your system. So that's the whole goal of Buildable. We want the system to work for you to where you don't have to worry about it. You can focus and deliver for your clients. And these little learnings that we have at events like this, is very helpful in developing that product. So, that's the gist of where I'm at. As you can see in the background, it's beautiful. We're at the Homestead, the Omni Homestead in Hot Springs, Virginia, and it's a beautiful building that was developed back in the 1800s around Hot Springs here in this location, and it's just been added on and improved and renovated over time. So it's pretty cool. But in great view of the mountains back here. So a few of the things we're currently working on that are actually going to be coming and released in the not so distant future is, really it revolves a lot around our AI right now. So, you're building a product like this, where you have to, build the foundation to then, develop all the features that we want from this AI. And AI. So you can go to our knowledge base, and we have a few different articles of what we have planned to do with the AI. These articles were written months ago, but we planned on developing an AI builder that helps people get started in the product. So on the last week's office hours, I talked about a new template center that we're developing, where you can go into the template center, and let's say you want, for instance, a CRM. You can go into our template center and you can click one button, and within 30 seconds you've got a CRM built in your system, in your buildable account. We're going to be adding more applications to that template center, but additionally, there's going to be a lot of customers that are builders that come along that one of these templates is not necessarily going to work for their business. There are a lot of unique businesses out there that need a more custom, unique solution to them. So the solve for that we are working on is an AI builder. And by AI builder, what I mean is, going back to our other business that we have, where we do, development for companies. Sometimes, that development to build a solution for a unique business takes anywhere from 30, 60, 120 days or more to develop a solution. That customer has to tell us what they need, how their business operates, and then we have to actually, confirm understanding, ask questions, glean that information from them, and go out and actually build that solution. Well, our whole goal behind developing Buildaible is that we don't want you to have to hire an outside company to do that. We want you to be able to, with the buzzword and advent and, big word that everybody's hearing nowadays, AI, we want you to be able to go into Buildaible, tell it what you need, and have that system developed in a matter of minutes. That's not only going to save you time, it's also going to save you money, but additionally, you're the one that has the knowledge. You know how your business is to operate. So rather than regurgitating that information to someone like me and having me develop a solution for you, talking to AI and having it build it for you, on the fly right there is going to save so much time, and it's going to be more of a customized solution built by the person that actually has the knowledge. I'm not saying that we at our other company don't have the knowledge of some of these things, because with the questions and the probing and things that we do, we're very successful at doing that. But now with AI, get out of that type of system that's worked for years, where you have to hire a development company to build a solution for you. So Buildaible, we want to cut out the middleman. We want you to be able to go in, set up an account, talk to it, and now you've got the solution of your dreams. And then in the future, if you want to add any features to it, if something changes in your business and new processes come, we want you to be able to talk to AI and further develop it. So without the need for hiring a development company. So we're currently working on our AI builder. One of the foundational pieces before you even get to that point is being able to talk to AI and the AI understand what you need based on what Buildaible can do, and actually translate that to making it do the functions within Buildaible that it needs to. So let me break that down for a second. Let's say you needed a report created for your business based on some data that you had in Buildaible. Someone could open up the chat and they could say, hey, I want to see my sales over the last 90 days, and I want to see them stack ranked by my top clients that, revenue that are paying. Someone else could come into the system and say, hey, I want a report that shows me all of my revenue by client over the last 90 days. Now, as a human, hearing that, that told you, you can translate that to being the same thing. But when it comes to technology, those are different words used in both of those sentences to get to the same goal. So one of the biggest challenges when it comes to that is translating what the customer actually wants, or what the builder actually wants, and putting that into, almost, hey, you said this, you said this, you said this. All these different things kind of still flow down to one function, one action within the system. So that's one thing that we've been working on a lot is translating natural language from what someone says to the action that they actually want. Because you can, to want a similar action, you can say it 10, 15, 100 different ways. So information down to, as AI, as we do in AI now, is using prompts to still get the same outcome is a big challenge. And that's what we've been working on recently. So one of the foundational pieces we've been working on is chat side of things. And then once that foundational piece is established, we can then mold that into doing the development of the application for you, initially. So as I just mentioned, when you first come into Buildable, you want to say, I want you to build me a system that does X, Y, and Z. Well, that needs to build that system for you. But then once that system is up and running and you put your data into that system, the AI chat, you're then going to be able to ask questions about that data. So you're going to be able to say, hey, what about this data within my system? And it's going to be able to regurgitate that information back to you. But the additional feature, the additional thing past that is that businesses are unique and processes change and things change and businesses grow. So we like to say that applications on the Buildable platform are iterative. And what I mean by saying iterative is just because you built the system this way in the beginning, that doesn't mean that's the way that the system needs to function forever. You may need to modify that system. You may need to add additional fields. You may need to, add additional information to it. So we are additionally past the AI builder and the, AI analyst, as we want to call it, where you can ask questions about your data. We also are working on the implementation of an AI, what I want to call it. What do we call it in our help? It's an AI developer. It's an AI assistant. So along the way of just asking questions about your data, if you want any other modifications to your app, you should be able to ask the AI to do that, and with approval, it can make those modifications to your application within the system. I know that's a lot of information. I know it's kind of getting in the weeds of some stuff here, but there's a multi-step process to utilizing AI and utilizing it within the Buildable platform. So, for instance, let me go ahead and just show up some screenshots because maybe this will kind of trigger some more ideas around this. But let me go ahead and share my screen real quick. And again, since I'm at this conference, I'm working from one screen, so just bear with me here on today's office hours. But next week it'll be back to normal. But I wanted to show you, give you kind of a peek behind the curtain since you're listening in on this and you're a builder on this platform. So these are a few screenshots. I know it looks a little jumbled right now, but this is from one of our developers recently, and I'll kind of go over them one by one. But let's look at this one for example. So, as we're testing the AI, as we're working on it, I'll kind of minimize some of these other ones so that it's not getting convoluted until we kind of go over those. Clean up my screen here. Okay, so these are some screenshots that our developer that's currently working on the product actually, showed me of Buildable. So here's an example. Can you list the tables in my application? So this is our developer chatting with the AI on this. And it's responding back, the Peach Shop app contains the following table, orders table. Let me know if you need any more information about that. Hey, so the initial question here is asking questions about your data, so the AI analyst. This next one that he's asking is, can you rename the orders table to orders 2? I have successfully retrieved the details of orders table of Peach Shop app, and let's proceed in renaming it to orders 2. Here's an updated information after renaming it. So that's showing you kind of two of the functionalities that I just discussed all in one chat. So it asked, the individual asked questions about their app or their information, and it responded back with it. And then they asked them to make further changes to their application, and it was able to make those changes. That's two of the components there. Let's look at another example here. So this is kind of following along the same lines, the Pizza Shop app right there. So can you rename the orders table? table previously named orders to has now been successfully renamed to orders. So that makes that modification. Hey, can you also actually rename it to pizza orders instead of thanks? So now it makes that change within the system. So this is just following along the same line of modifying, just the name of a table. But, what I wanted to show in these screenshots was that, we don't want you, obviously we're trying to make the product super easy so that if you want to go around and you want to click around and build the system yourself without AI, totally have at it. But we also understand that business owners need to focus on their business, and they don't necessarily have the time at times to learn a solution like Buildaible and build it on their own. So that's where we're bringing the AI in, because, hey, if you can talk to AI and it can do the things for you, that's going to save you a ton of time. So that's the goal behind it. Now, this is, beta and peek behind the curtain. This is what we're working on. But, that's just kind of an idea of some of the things. Let me pull up some of these other screenshots here. So, okay, so here's another example here of, can you list all of my tables? And it came back and said, hey, in your emergency response team app, there's a table of assets, deployments, and then in your pizza shop app, there's an order. So that's actually asking a question, and it's giving you answers based on multiple applications within your Buildaible account. So that's the other cool feature with this, is that the chat is not going to be defined just the application that you're in. And I know that this is getting a little on the weeds for the non-tech users, but Buildaible, you can build multiple applications. So if, for instance, you have a cleaning business, you could have an application that runs your cleaning business and that all your cleaners log into and know where they need to go on a daily basis. But then you could also have an application that is your employee repository that tracks, all your employee salaries, your raises, your bonuses, and maybe your employees don't have access to that. And that could be all within your same Buildaible account. So this chat mechanism will actually work across applications in your account. So if you have questions about your employees, you log into Buildaible, you open up the chat, you ask questions about your employees, it knows what application to go to and give you that information. If you have questions about your sales from your customers, you ask it in that chat, and knows what application to go to and give you that information for your sales. In the past, when customers or businesses would have a system like this that runs their business, and they wanted information like this, they would need to build out all these different types of reports for this different information that they need. And then on a daily basis, you'd have to log in and check those reports or have them emailed to them. Well, the beauty of Buildaible is, while we do have, the reporting engine, so you can create these reports, a lot of things you will no longer need to create reports for, because you'll just be able to talk to AI and it'll be able to give you the information that you need. So that's one of the big goals, is that we don't want you to have 150, 1,000, whatever reports in your system to be able to track everything that you need, and for you to have to review those on a daily basis. We want you to simply be able to ask a question to AI, it be able to look at your data and provide that information back to you. So that's what that's doing right here. So for instance, in this example, we asked, hey, can you list all the records in my assets table? And it's coming right back in a grid style format, like Excel. And it's showing, the assets that you have in there. And it's a hyperlinked here. So I know this is just a screenshot, but you will be able to click on that. That's actually going to download that information to Excel for you. And now you have an Excel file. Look at one more screenshot here. And I don't know how in depth this one is, but let's look at this one. So I don't know exactly where he's asking where this is, because this is the screenshot that he provided to me, but hey, it's probably asking where a job or a project location is. So can you tell me approximately where that is? And the AI is actually able to look at that address and that job location in the system and report back that it's at this latitude and this longitude, which is approximately Austin, Texas. And it's, the AI can add a little fluff to it, saying, it appears that it's near downtown area of Austin. Would you like additional information or assistance with something else? So then, hey, was there a recent storm in Austin? So that's the other beauty of this AI, is while it does have access to your data, it also has access to some real world information as well. So it's able to report back, yeah, there was a severe storm, the evening of Wednesday, May 28, 2025, that caused significant damage across the city. Now, the example that we're using here is, similar to a client of ours that we have at our other organization, where, they deal with a lot of storm damage. So imagine that you can talk to the AI and have it report information back on your data within the Buildable system. But at the same time, you can then take that and look at real world information that's out there and compare the information in your system to real world information that's out there. I mean, that's pretty amazing because, if this wasn't in place like this, it would be, hey, where's that located? That's near Austin. Okay, now I'm jumping to Google and saying, hey, Google, was there a storm in this area recently? Do I need to know about some information in there? And you don't have to do that. We are now consolidating that all into one solution, utilizing AI and Buildable. Taking another step further, he's asking, so, hey, was there a fan deployed to help with the response to the damage? How long will it be there? Yeah, you're a big fan. I know, jokingly, we're calling it big fan, but, this would be, a 1000 CFM, whatever, type of fan, there, this is just what we've added into our asset database just to kind of play around with. But your big fan is scheduled to be in Austin until June 1st. Would you like more details on this? So our whole goal is making this AI conversational. You can talk to it. You can ask it questions about your data. And the more and more that you do that, the more it's going to understand your data, the better it's going to be to almost not psychic, but know what you're going to ask beforehand to provide that information for you. The additional factor of this is that based on the questions that you ask it and the information that you ask Buildable AI to provide, the AI is then going to start suggesting actual improvements and modifications to your Buildable application to streamline the process even further. So in the past, when we or one of our clients were to build a system, they were the ones that then had to come up with the new ideas, the new things that they wanted to do in that system. The AI within Buildable is going to understand how you use the system on a daily basis, the questions you ask, the fields that you have in there, the reports that you've created, and then is going to eventually start suggesting improvements within your system. And it's not just going to be improvements, overall for the system. It's going to understand how your end users in different roles, so for instance, your office staff or field representatives, your technicians, your project managers, whatever industry that you're in, it's going to understand how those different roles are utilized in the system and is further going to help you improve it automatically based on suggestions and stuff and what it sees, of that usage. So again, I said this is only going to be about 10 minutes. I've gone probably 20 minutes now, into this. I know that I kind of got in the weeds right there, and I know this is, kind of, technical level a little bit with some of the things that we're working on. But, once these start and get incorporated in the product, which is going to be the near future, you're going to start to be able to see, what I'm vocalizing here of how AI is drastically going to change this landscape of businesses using systems to run their business. Before it was you purchase a system, you utilize a system, and that's just what it is. You use it. That's it. It doesn't get any smarter. The goal with Buildable is that this system is going to constantly improve over time based on how you use it. And the AI is just going to constantly improve from there. So lots of information, drinking from the fire hose. Again, enjoying the Virginia Builders Conference with this great view in my background of this mountain and whatever it is, a ridge. But that's the gist of today's office hours. I know I went a little in the weeds, but next week we'll be doing some demos, and I don't know, we'll see. Maybe we can have one of our main developers on next week to kind of show off some of the AI. I think that would be super cool. I think it would really hit home there when you're able to visually see it in action. So those are some of the features that we're working on, constantly improving Buildable. And please, send us whatever feedback that you have. Support@buildable.com is open. We actually just had, a great client reach out this week that needed some support on building a CRM. And we are more than willing to schedule a meeting with you individually and go over this and help you, be successful within the Buildable product. you're successful, that's our goal. We want you to be successful in your business, use our product, make more money, grow your business, and have less worries about your systems because, you have us and the Buildaible team, behind you to support you. So please send feedback away and join office hours in the future. Next week, we'll do another demo and hopefully, like I just mentioned, we'll have one of our lead programmers on there to show off some of the we've been working on. Thanks for joining today. Have a great day.